guys, and welcome back to my channel. So this is not a wig tutorial. I am not going to be explaining anything about this wig or the hair. That video will be up later. That video will be up later in the week. But I just wanted to get this video up because I've been wanting to do this video for a while. If I keep saying this video, you guys have read the title. You know what I'm about to start talking about. So if you have triggers, like mental health trigger, like certain terms are going to make you not feel so great, then you might want to click out of this now, because I am going to be talking about mental health and the effect that having a child plays on your mental health, and my personal experience, because you guys know obviously I'm not a doctor. I'm not trying to diagnose anybody. I just want to share my experience of having my child and what I've been going through mentally. So that's really what this video is about. It's just, you know, sharing my experience, and maybe by doing that, someone else who is going through what I have been going through will feel a little bit better or feel like they're not alone. So let's just get into it. Like I said, all the information for this hair will be in a different video. I'm sorry if you can hear my cat scratching at my door. Alright, so I had Lady back in 2018, and she is 21 months now, but I just wanted to come on here and basically explain what's been going on lately in my life. I have been diagnosed with severe depression and anxiety, and I am currently in transition between medications. I was getting my meds from my primary care physician, which is just basically a family practice doctor, but she wasn't really cutting it for me, if you want me to be honest. I have been on a couple medications, and I just don't like the side effects, and basically what she told me was that all antidepressants have the side effects that I don't like, and that wasn't the answer I wanted to hear. So I am going to see an actual psychiatrist, because I do go to therapy with a psychologist, you know, so I'm going to a psychiatrist, one that, you know, can dish out meds, and my first appointment is next week, so hopefully that's going to help me, because I'm at a low right now. So just in case you don't know anything about depression or anything, it's kind of hard to explain, because logically I know I don't have anything really to be upset about or feel badly about. I have a relatively good life, but for some reason, emotionally, the emotional part of my brain doesn't believe that. The emotional part of my brain thinks, you know, the worst about every situation, and that's really hard to deal with sometimes when you think like that every day. So it's really difficult for me to film this video because it is a mental health topic, and it kind of makes me emotional. So if you can hear my voice cracking, that's probably like, you know, I'm choosing to do this video because, like I said, I think it will help me to talk about it, and it might help someone out there who's going through the same thing. So I had Lady back in 2018, and before that, I have never had any kind of depression or anxiety. Some may argue I was crazy before I had my child, but this is a whole different kind of animal that I'm experiencing now. So ever since I've had her, you guys, if you've been following me for a while, I have made a video in the past about the anxiety I feel about her. I did have a mild case of postpartum depression, but you know, that eventually went away, but not really. I think it just has transformed into something else. So I'll leave a link to some of my videos my postpartum videos down below in the description box or up in the cards if you want to check them out. I talk about milk production and stopping milk production and my anxiety about my child's health and things like that. Anyway, so it's been going on 2 years. I am not as bad as I was when it, like, as far as, like, emotionally goes. I'm not checking on Adelaide when she's sleeping 10 times a night like I used to. And, you know, I don't overly fuss about her because she's a toddler now and she is a very independent child when she feels well. Now, when she doesn't feel good, it's a completely different story. But when she's feeling really good, when she's in good health, she's pretty independent and she likes to do things for herself. So I let her, and that definitely helps my anxiety as far as, you know, she can tell me kind of, I mean, like I said, she's not speaking in full sentences, but her body language and the words she does know, she can say what she wants. And she doesn't just cry randomly, you know what I mean? Which, you know, babies, that's like babies, before they have any kind of language skills, that's what they do. And that's what really triggers my anxiety, is when my baby cries, because I don't, you know, in the past, obviously, I would not know why she was crying. I would have to run through the checklist, and then if those things didn't work, then I'd be like, oh my God, what's wrong, kind of thing. But like I said, now she's able to say some words, so that definitely helps. So on a daily basis, I don't really have like, how do I want to say this? I'm not really struggling on a daily basis. It's when things happen, stressful events happen, where I am triggered and I just start going down. I just start declining, like mentally, and then physically. I just don't want to do anything. I barely want to get out of bed. I stop eating. So, I mean, I'm not talking about, like, you know, eating disorder or anything, but I won't take care of myself in a dietary perspective. Like, I won't eat anything that's gonna help me feel good. Does that make sense? And so I don't binge eat or anything, but instead of having like a meal, I'll just snack all day on stuff. And obviously that's not really good for your health if the things that you're snacking on are like potato chips and chocolate. So, and that's probably, you know, that probably contributes when I'm on low. That probably contributes to how I feel and why I feel that way, because then I feel guilty, like, oh my God, I'm already like plus size. I'm not trying to gain any more weight because then I'll just be uncomfortable, kind of thing. So yeah, it's just like, it's basically like a snake eating its own tail kind of thing when I go down that rabbit hole emotionally. And like I said at the beginning, it's really hard to describe what happens. You know, like for me personally, I go through, something happens, something stressful happens. Mainly something that I do not have control over. And that is one of the things that I go to therapy about. I do have a bit of a control issue. He hasn't said the words OCD, but I do have a thing about being in control of things. And when I'm not in control of them, I don't like it. And I find it stressful. And, you know, for me personally, you know, stress is what, you know, triggers my lack of control, my lack of being able to fix something, or like I said, take the lead on something. That causes me a lot of anxiety. And yeah, so what has happened recently is a lot, like 2 of my friends have been in really terrible accidents. I don't really want to go into detail, but basically they wound up in the hospital, and that's just, you know, terrible in itself, because, you know, they could have died, kind of thing. And that just, you know, made me start thinking about death. And I'm already a pretty morbid person. Like, I'm not saying, like, I dream about, dead people or anything. Nothing that dramatic, but I am very aware of my mortality and how quickly and suddenly life can be snuffed out. And then on top of all that happening with my friends, my kid was sick. She was really sick. She did not have the flu. The doctor said she didn't have the flu, but she had a really severe cold. And where I work, which, I can't really disclose that, but where I work, people get sick often, and it travels fast. Does that make sense? So I don't think I got my baby sick. I think my husband got her sick. But, I guess it's possible that I was a carrier for something. But I myself didn't get sick. But she got really sick, and then Jeff got sick. But, when children get sick, it's like times 50 the symptoms that adults have. And then if your child is young enough, they can't have any of the cough suppressants. They don't know how to blow their nose yet. Kind of thing. So it just makes everything that much more uncomfortable for them. So like I said before, when Lady is healthy, she communicates very well on what she wants. But when she doesn't feel good, she will just cry and sob and just want to cuddle. And it's just, seeing her so uncomfortable and not being able to really help her besides, let her sleep in my arms all night kind of thing, which, I tried doing that, but I can't function at work if I can't sleep myself. Does that make sense? So then, of course, that just is another trigger. Like I said, when I'm not in control of something, such as my child's health, when I can't help her, it really makes me feel inadequate, and that just causes me anxiety. And then the depression part comes in, that basically I'm useless, and just other things go through my mind, like, why did I think I could take care of a kid and stuff like that. So like I said, none of this is logical. Mental health is not something you can bullet point and say these things are what dictates, like you having a certain like mental struggle kind of thing. Like, it's really hard for me to explain, because I know logically, like, what I'm saying, like the words I'm using are not, they don't sound like so dramatic. They don't sound like something that everyone doesn't go through. Like, everyone that's ever had a child has had a sick child, and it's not the end of the world for them. You know what I mean? It's not the end, like, they don't have the same thoughts I do. But that's the thing about, I don't like the word mental illness. Honestly, I hate that word, because that makes me feel like there's something wrong with me. But, individuals with mental struggles, like that their brain just interprets things differently than other people. Like, just because we have the same experience doesn't mean our brains perceive them the same way. And for me, my brain just goes into a spiral of all this negativity, and I get anxious, and then I can't sleep, and then when I can't sleep, I just get stressed out, and I'm still going through that. I still, like, Lady has gotten a lot better, obviously, but for a week there, she had a fever for like 5 days, and then it broke, and then, now all the snot is coming out of her head, and she's still got a cough because she's got snot in her large airways. And that's another thing. Like, I took her to the doctor often, and, like, the doctor would look at me like, you were just here yesterday. Like, nothing has changed with her. And I literally will ask him, I was like, does she have pneumonia? Like, that's where my brain goes. Like, does my child have pneumonia and I don't know about it and stuff like that? And, you know, he kind of reassures me, like, she doesn't have pneumonia. I'm a doctor. I would know, kind of thing. But, I mean, try to tell me that and then that's just not how it works. Because I'll be there the next day if I think she's not getting better. Which I'm happy we did take her, because she did have an ear infection before she got really sick. And then they had given her medication for the ear infection. And then that's when she got that really big cold. And then when her fever broke, it still didn't seem like she was getting better. So we did take her back to the doctor twice. And it wasn't till the second time where they were like, oh, she has another ear infection. And then, you know, and then I felt kind of vindicated, because I was like, I knew something was wrong, kind of thing. I don't know if it's because I was just, you know, honestly, I don't know if it's because it was just luck that we took her there and she did have an ear infection, because, you know, the other couple of times I took her to the doctor, like, the doctor was like, you know, she's fine, kind of thing. She has a cold. She has a cold. But it kind of made me feel vindicated that she did have another ear infection, and I knew it. So, yeah. Anyway, yeah, so she's doing a lot better, but now there's, you know, other things. So I'm not really worried about her anymore. I'm not checking on her, like, very often at night anymore, because while she was sick, I would go in there about 7 times a night. Kind of like, you know, when she was like an infant, I would go in her room and put my hand on her back to make sure she was breathing. I was doing that all last week, and then, you know, and I wasn't sleeping because I was afraid to turn my baby monitor off, even though Jeff said, don't worry about it, you need to sleep. I'll keep my baby monitor on, but then, you know, in the back of my head, I have an anxiety that he's going to miss something, or she's going to choke on something, which, even though I Googled it, you can't choke on mucus, you know, because mucus is not like a foreign object, like, they just cough it out. But the way she was coughing was just giving me so much anxiety, because she was coughing up these loogies, you know, these mucus balls, and then swallowing them back down, which, you know, is really gross. So when she was coughing them up, they would kind of get stuck. You know how loogies are, like, they're mucus balls. So they would get stuck, and then, you know, her face would turn red for like a split second before it finally came up. And then she swallowed it back down, and then that was causing her nausea, and then she wasn't eating. Like I said, she's a lot better. But all of that, watching all of that stuff happen to my kid is like, and you know, and then, you know, like I said, she wasn't eating, and when she wasn't eating, like, some of the things that we were trying to feed her, she would just puke them back up, because her stomach was so sensitive, because it was full of mucus and stuff like that. So either way, so she's better. So you would think I would be getting better, but I'm not, because now I have work stress. And like I said, where I work, I do not work an office job. I work in a place that is not the nicest of places to work. And it's, you know, and some people will be like, well, why don't you just go work somewhere else? Well, because they pay me a lot of money to be in a place that's not so nice. Does that make sense? And I have a family to take care of. So for some people out there where they could just drop their job and go look for something that doesn't pay as much, I am willing to adapt and make sure I get that paycheck. You know what I mean? Anyway, yeah, so now, so at work itself, work every day is a constant stressor because of the nature of the beast. It is what it is. And, you know, that on top of my kid being sick was just a lot. But now that my kid is not sick, now it's like my job is just, like picking up the slack of where my kid left off at. So now I have stressors at my job. I am currently looking for another position, but right now I am where I am, and yeah, that's what it is. I'm not gonna quit a well-paying job and not have something that pays just as well or better lined up. because that's just responsible adulting. So, yeah, so the things at work are starting to pick up, and there's just a lot of talk about work hours and shit like that. And it's just, once again, like I said, everyone doesn't experience certain situations the same way. And like I said, this is just me telling you my experience with life. But basically, I guess the whole point of this video is that I wasn't like this before I had Adelaide. I was not a worry. I mean, I've always been a worrier. Yes, I've always been a worrier. But after she was born, it just kicked into high gear kind of thing. I am never relaxed. Yes, I sleep, but I sleep intermittently. I have to take medication in order to get sound sleep for 6 hours. And I didn't say 8, I said 6, because my body just will not let me sleep. Hence why I shouldn't say my body. My body is exhausted. My brain will not let me sleep. So that's why I have to put my primary care physician to the side, because she ain't doing it for me. I need something a little bit more specialized for my situation. So yeah, hopefully, like I said, going to this psych will definitely help me sleep, and some different medication will, help my brain understand that things are not as huge as they seem to be. They're not as, apocalyptic as I think they are. Put me back more on an even keel when it comes to interpreting events in my life. And I'm not condoning medication for people with mental struggles, but I'm also not condemning it. I am just telling you what I need in order to get through my life, basically, because life is not easy. Life is not easy. Anyone who says life is easy must not be living their life. You know what I mean? Because life definitely has ups and downs. Everyone has ups and downs, and sometimes those downs seem to last a lot longer than the ups. That could just be my negativity talking, but that's how it feels sometimes in my life, where yes, I have great things that happen to me, but it's always like one great thing will happen, but then 3 terrible things happen, and then it's just kind of like, you don't feel like you can get forward. Does that make sense? Like I said, I have a well-paying job. I have a beautiful daughter, you know what I mean? I have a house that I live in. My bills are paid. I shouldn't be upset about anything, because some people don't have a house. Some people don't have a good paying job. So, like I said, logically, it makes no sense. I understand that. But for some reason, for me, it's just, life is terrible. You know what I mean? So, if you are currently pregnant, you are probably already experiencing changes in how you think. Once again, I'm not a doctor. Maybe not all pregnant women go through this, but I definitely did. So I just attributed it to the hormones while I was pregnant, because I was just emotional, all the time. And I just attributed it to hormones. However, obviously I'm not pregnant anymore, and I am almost 2 years postpartum, and I'm still emotional. And I'm not saying being emotional is a negative thing. I'm not saying that in a negative way. I'm talking about emotional, irrational emotions. Being sad about something that is not sad, kind of thing. So, I guess if you are pregnant right now, it might be something that you want to think about after you have your baby, because for me, the anxiety never went away. It just transformed into something else. Now that lady is getting older, it's like all that anxiety that I felt toward her has just been redirected to something else. And like I said, I don't know if I've always had anxiety, because I don't think I have. I've always felt very stable, very in control. But my therapist will tell you, my psychologist will tell you that the reason that I was, I didn't have anxiety was because I was in control of everything. But now that I have another human being to take care of, I'm not really in control of anything. I would like to think I know what I'm doing as a parent, but I don't. I have no idea what I'm doing. I have books and I have Google and I have the doctor, the pediatrician, to tell me what to do. But at the end of the day, this is another little life we're talking about. And life itself is not static, it's very fluid. Things change. Little personalities come through. Like Adelaide she has a very large personality, She's very, she's not even 2 yet, but I can already tell that she's going to be very feisty, and she does not like the word no. So, So, like I said, before I had my child, I was in control of everything. I guess I still am in control of everything, but when it comes to taking care of another life, you're not really in control. You would like to think you are, but you're really not. You're really not in control. So I am attempting to correct this. I don't want to call it a failure, because that's just my depression talking, honestly. That I'm not a failure. I'm not a failure. But sometimes it's really hard to convince me of that. So, I will be definitely keeping you updated on what's going on. I'm still going to try to get content out for you guys, but like I said, I'm not feeling it. I'm just not feeling it. And I don't want to give you guys crap. So I might just be doing wig tutorials or hair reviews, because they don't require a lot of camera time, and they don't really require a lot of interaction like my makeup videos do. And also, I haven't really been inspired to do my makeup. I mean, I want to do my makeup, but I am not able to focus on doing my makeup like I usually am. So I've kind of I haven't been doing my makeup at all. So yeah, yeah, I guess that's it. I don't know if I'll even post this video, because it's kind of all over the place, and some people are probably going to be like, the fuck are you talking about, kind of thing. But I just wanted to share an aspect of my life that I think not a lot of people talk about, because they are embarrassed. There's not a lot of videos out there about postpartum depression, about what happens after you have a baby. No one wants to talk about those things. Everyone just dwells on the excitement of having a baby without realizing everything that comes afterward, both physically for you, the mom, and mentally for you as the mother, So I hope this video helps somebody out there that maybe, like I said, is struggling like I am with their life. Because that's what I'm doing. I am struggling through life right now. And it's going to get better, because I'm searching out ways to make it better. And I want to thank the YouTubers that I follow. They don't even know I exist, of course, but I follow Samantha Ravindal. I follow Jaclyn Hill. I follow Kathleen Lights. I follow Raw Beauty Christie. And they have been, talking about mental health, which not everyone talks about, which I don't know why, because we all have mental health. We may not all have mental health issues. We may not all be struggling with our mental health, but all of us have mental health because we're all human. So I really appreciated that they were speaking on about their struggles, because that gave me the courage to speak on mine and how I am dealing with my anxiety and depression. And okay, my camera shut off, so I have no idea where I was. So let's just wrap up this video. And thank you for watching. Please be kind in the comments, because if you're not, I'm going to delete them. I'm just letting you know I'm going to delete them. And I hope to see you guys in another video. I promise not all of them will be like this, where I'm just talking about something that might not even relate to you, that you don't watch my channel for. But this is me just trying to pull back the curtain and show you guys another aspect of my life. And of course, it helps me to talk about it, because I don't really talk to anyone besides my therapist about it. I don't really talk to my husband about it, because he has no idea what I'm talking about. It helps me to verbalize it, to talk about it, to speak on it. And I definitely feel a lot better than I did when I started this video. I was very nervous, but I did it. It is what it is. Okay, so I will see you guys in the next one. Like I said, details on this hair will be in another video. All right, bye.